21 people in the house. Let me just get this first show of the day going. Hang on a second.
Cool, man.
Hang on. I always, the electronics have been really, really tripping. You know what I mean?
You know why? Because there was a huge solar.
I think it came. Yeah, I picked that energy up. 42 people in the house. I picked that energy up last night, and it was actually involving. It was like a big giant vortex. Morgan, a couple other friends, the shows that came on. Yeah. I mean, it just kept building and building and building. And I think the last show, I can't remember, man. The last show, it was dark. I went for a ride. I could feel it coming. It was like I could hear this. It wasn't a tone. It was more like like if you took cicadas or crickets, and you sped them up really, really fast, where it would almost be a tone, but it had that little rhythm in it, like that. So, and it was multiple tonality to it. And so I came back and I was talking to a friend, and we were going to do a little collaboration, Sasha Grace with music. And so anyway, she was like, I'm at the beach. I'll hit you up when I get back in an hour or so. And I went deep, man. I went deep, probably went down about 9:30 or 10. And then at 4 o'clock, 4:00, on the dot, I woke up and the room was just like ice cold. I was shivering. I was shaking. My body wouldn't stop shaking. It was, to me, because I asked the energy, what's going on? To me, it was I'd almost have to say 100% physical upgrade. So the mental part of it hasn't really been an issue for me. And I think other people have said that. The mental part really hasn't been an issue for me for weeks, maybe even two months. I don't know. But, and then the emotional part, I mean, I was like tripping balls, I mean, not under the influence of anything. And so I was like, what's going on? What's going on? I'm shaking. I'm still shaking a little bit. It's like electrical energy. Yeah. And but the emotional part of it wasn't, I was like, okay, man, let's get this over with, or, something. I don't know what I was saying, but the emotion wasn't like the hell-bent emotion that I've had, and so many of us have had, like, beam me up. What the hell's going on? I'm doing the work and whatever circumstances, but I think, things are moving really fast. There's a lot of, I think anyone that's feels they're okay is out of their fucking mind. I think not feeling okay is great. One of the many gems Morgan taught me was the first step to elevation is the admission that something's not right. So, we're made of an infinite number of frequencies and an ever expanding vibration. So something's always not going to be balanced. We've got all these different balls in the air, but it was intense. And I think people are going through a lot of intense stuff. I'm seeing some interesting posts, some really interesting posts. Well, a couple of them I'd like to talk about. And then I see these issues, which I've brought up again and again on the show, but not to go in deep to them, but just to say, what is that we're looking at? What is this secret space story, runaway civilization story? What is this financial reset story? What is this, the other stuff that is on the alt news and on the off the beaten path social media, things that are being censored, and, and Alex Jones and this and that, and what is this and what is that? Who is this and who is that? And it's like, something that when I talked to Greg Prescott the other day from N5D, we had a 2-hour show and we just did it spontaneously like this one. And we started talking about some of it because Greg's been in the game a long, long time as a researcher. He's interviewed Jordan Maxwell, Dolores Cannon. So it was kind of a nice blend, two brothers talking about, I'm 7 years into the game. He's probably 17. And then just comparing notes and looking at not only the contrast of, 10 years ago versus today, but also the speed of information, the level of awareness. And do we need to know all this stuff? And what do we need to know from where we came? And what do we need to know right now? And what's really happening? So I'll lead into you with this. I was told 7 years ago in my universe, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. I was told when I was given the name Soulogy, I was told, keep it simple.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and in the vernacular that I was comfortable with at the time, the universe said to me, there's only three things. There is one God, and we can use that word now. I wouldn't have used that word back then, but that's what I understood. I wasn't even aware of the divine feminine or the mother goddess. So there's one source or one God goddess. There is one golden rule, is what they told me back then, which I went and researched that. It's in every religion, but in other words, there's a perfect order to the universe. Yeah. And three, we are all one unique and equal soul, which has taken on an expanded meaning to me over 7 years. And I received a message a couple of days ago, and it said, and showed me, it was really cool. It was like the body electric. It was like the body of the source. And all these little cells, fractals, shot out, right? And it said it said every fractal has its own life experience. Yeah. Not just this incarnation, but every incarnation. That's why we have certain, possibly one of the reasons we have certain, affinities for, I'm Syrian, or, I was this, or I feel this, or this resonates. Yeah. So anyway, I figured that's a good way to lead in. How you been doing? How's this? I know you stay on top of the energies. How let's just talk about March, in that time frame. How's March been for you?
And it's been it's been really good. It's been very intense with all the new light codes coming in from the galactic central sun. I mean, I've just felt so much high intensity but also it's clearing the most deepest parts of the subconscious of the deepest, 3D code, so to speak, of like disease, addiction, not feeling worthy. And it's clearing out, and then I just felt so much more at peace. And the one thing for me, if you've, watched me grow over time on social media, I went from being very angry about what's going on and kind of like hostile. And I just found this inner peace.
We all did that. We all did that. Just go back and look in the Soulogy archives about 3.5 years ago, and you'll see this wild man with crazy hair and no shirt on, raising hell about 9/11 and buildings dropping and CIA and all that.
Yeah. And it's just, I feel like the collective is at a point where we're just going through this time of great healing. But for some of us who are at a little further upon the journey, we're on this kick right now of unconditional forgiveness and letting go of everything that we thought we were or have been, to start to integrate into this new frequency of unconditional love, and this, as we say, 5D.
Yeah.
It's been a very
all those things parallel. It's interesting. A couple of comments. One, this is a very personal journey, and rule 2, don't take anything personal. From the external, which is people for the most part, especially now. I think what you're describing is to a T, and I think we're not conscious of it because it's moving so fast, but we're able to have conscious thoughts of alignment and say, like, I got one today. And it was like, no one, and I even posted it, no one can validate us. We can only validate ourselves, because we are a living soul, and life is the validation, period. We're living. That is the validation. And I think as these things come off of us, as these things that we resist in removing from owning that within us, which is mostly these things that you're talking about, be it a disease, be it an attribute we don't associate ourselves with, or behavior, or whatever the case is. I think what's happening is you've got this pure, incarnation of the central sun, if you will. And as each piece comes off, that light gets brighter and brighter, shining more light on the bullshit that's shrouding it. Yes. And it's like we're getting closer and closer to who we are, what we are, and what we're a part of. And it's freaking mind blowing.
Oh, it's amazing.
We're talking about teleportation. We're talking about true bilocation. We're talking about and people are already talking about it, multidimensional conscious, multidimensional experiences, multiple at the same time, you know? So it's definitely happening, and you can see it in the post of pictures that people put up of what, you know, we might call at one time nature anomalies.
Yes.
Pictures of the sun, the moon, different things like that. I'll tell you one thing that happened to me, and I'm just putting this out there because that's what we do here. We just put out our experience because that's really the activator. I went out to this field 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot all about this. I go out to this field. There's like a pasture next to this farm, and I'm out there, and it's I think full moon night. I'm pretty sure it was full moon night because they said, "Get your ass up in bed. We got something to do." And I was standing there, and so you had the full moon light, but it's still kind of dark. And I saw this kind of wave looking thing appear. I don't know if you saw the movie Predator. Did you ever see the movie Predator?
Oh,
when the Predator was in the trees and you could see like the whatever you would call that. So I'm seeing that, and I'm like, whoa, wow. And I saw quite a bit of it, like they were different energies, I would say individual energies, right? Like a team or whatever. I couldn't see faces or anything, but there was this music to it. There was this color, like bands of rainbow in it, even though it was dark. I could literally see it. I couldn't but a couple times make out what might be like a humanoid shape. Right. Most of it was waves. And then I said, I trust the universe. I trust fully, and I opened my heart and welcome you in, right? And when that happened, an energy came up from behind me, went into my lower back. It kind of warmed up a little bit. I thought I was going to have like a kundalini. I could feel my chi moving down into the lower chakras, back up to the heart area, back to the lower chakras. But the energy that I was looking at, I guess another piece of it, like went through me, right? Like went up my spine, through me. And then it started to slowly swirl around me. And, yeah, it was trippy. And I thought, well, what's going to happen? I'm like, I surrender, man. You know? So it was, but I think people are probably having experiences like that. And if anybody is in the audience or on the replay, feel free to message me and we'll do the best to get you on because I'm inundated with messages. But, yeah, I think, you know, people should talk about it, should write about it, and so on.
I mean, I think with anything, like we get comfortable with how we feel as we feel individually, as you know, as we say normal, and you feel good. But so if something becomes different or different, and you feel it's a new feeling, especially these new sensations that we're all experiencing. You're talking about the kundalini, and people, you know, like especially the new people that are waking up, they don't even know what the heck's going on, and so they start feeling these things, and they start to hear and see, and it freaks people out because it's the unknown.
It's what put everybody in the psych wards. all the early ones.
Hop on the crazy train. It's fun over here. And, you know, and I think that's where we come in and help, you know, help one another, is to say, hey, crazy, you know, you're just breaking out of the hallucination. Shit. Oops. Sorry.
That's all right. You're back. You're back. We heard what you said. It was just a little bit muted. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I don't know about you. Have you had like a couple of nights ago, I guess it was a full moon night too. I was walking through my little living area and there's a box fan, you know, those old box fans. They're like a square, you know, and they're just like your grandma had. And so on the top of it, you know, the outside of it, the container or whatever, it's a light blue, but there was like all this rust on it.
Yeah.
Or at least some type of discoloration or oxidization or something. And I'm walking by it and I look down at it and I'm telling you, you know, you ever look inside one of those globes, those Christmas globes where they have the snow? Okay, so it was kind of like that. I looked down at it and that little thing that was probably no thicker, the band, the square that contained it, probably no thicker than my fingers. That thing was this deep. I'm looking down at it. It had 3-dimensional, 4th dimensional, all these golden colors. I'm looking at it going, no fucking way. You know,
Wow.
I look away, I look back, and I'm like, and I'm saying to myself, I know I'm seeing a wider version of this particular energy that is the same as me.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting there going, what does that really look like? Like, what does it look like in the pure 3D? And it took about 2, 3, 4 minutes. And finally, I was able to adjust my eyes or whatever happened, or I came back into 3D. And it was just a fan with a bunch of rust and oxidation on it. But I saw that thing, and it was that. I mean, it was like looking into like a gel, like a plasma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was trippy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know
Wow.
what it is. I'm just reporting live. I'm just reporting live from the front line of the apocalypse.
There's so much. I mean, so much going on. I mean, I'll tell you experience I have with my bilocation experience.
Right on.
It's probably about 3 or 4 months ago. Of course, you know, about to fell asleep, and I wake up. Well, I'm not in my bed, and I'm kind of hunched over like this, and I'm looking around. I'm in a spacecraft, and there's people around me. They're calling me captain. And so I'm like hitting my arm to make sure like this is not a dream or whatever. And it's as real it can be. You know, I was like, I knew I was there, and I was like, yes, I knew what was going on. It was a bilocation experience. And I was in another avatar of mine, or it could have been me. I don't know. I didn't have a mirror to see the face, but I had on this gold bodysuit, kind of like, you know, like in Star Trek, you know, the smart suits. And
I've seen him in blue. I've seen me and Morgan in him in blue.
What's that?
I said I've seen Morgan and I in him in blue.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Awesome.
This was back when we hadn't met physically. We would connect in Helios Gamos, and also have mutual dimensional experiences. But yeah, it was 3 years ago. But yeah.
Hey, just real quick, I'm having trouble hearing you on my side. Can I jump off real quick and jump back on?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, we'll jump right off. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you can do that. You're still here. You're still on here. Oh, he's gone. Now he's coming right back. So now somebody posted. Yeah, let me do this instead. Oh, here he comes. Let's see here.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, much better. Much better. Yeah.
So let's do this, because I'll tell you why. Because when I put up the post last night, I think the only comment that was there, somebody said, I would love to hear y'all discuss these. God, I have to get their exact words, because it was really, really.
Yeah, go for it.
It was on point, totally. I thought it was. Unless I'm imagining things. That's one thing about this trip too, is the 3D memory, or lack of memory. I saw that in one of the geomagnetic posts. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is from Sharda Chaitanya. She says, nice to see you addressing these topics on your show. We need a balanced spiritual perspective on these issues, minus the grandstanding and fear-mongering. We look forward to this. So that was in regard to what I said was, we will be talking about spaceships, financial reset, programming, tribunals, propaganda, just a discussion trying to get to the truth. And so I just want to, this is not a disclaimer. I just want to say the spirit of this whole network and this show is I guess, has its own energy. It's a reflection of the universe. It's adding frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. We're taking the stuff that we came into the world with, all of us, having memories swiped, and the experience of our incarnations, and some people call that the living library. And then we are combining those two things, as I see it, into the new template, the new good book, the new blueprint, whatever you want to call it. Our collective efforts to expand the universe, the outer breadth of Mother Creation. So anything we talk about here, the 99.9% of the time, the tone of this show is very, very, very cool, good flow. and it always, you know, seems to be that way. And if it's not, it's me. It's not. But yeah, we're trying to find out. Everybody has information. Even when we get in that comes in downloads, once we start spitting out of our mouth, it gets a little bit tainted. Yeah. Each word that we're saying, that monkey mind will have something to say or some influence, even if we can't hear it. So let's start with one I want to have more understanding of. I don't know. I've researched all these things, as you have, many people have. This is how most of us woke up, was saying 9/11 was an inside job. Oh my God, it was bigger than an inside job. An inside job, it involved a fourth dimension, whatever. But the financial reset, people call Nasara.
Nasara is the global economic reset. Yes.
Yeah. And I brought this up to Greg Prescott on the show we did, and he said, you know, I started following that, and he knew the details of it. I mean, he knew like the specifics like you do. And he said, I started following it in 2009, and I just, you know, it's just, you know, it's like a carrot on a stick. It's not. Right. And I said to him, now this is just where I'm at, and this is where he's at, and where you're at. And then we just mix it all together and whatever people comment. My take on it is that at least half of what's out there is psyops. To think that YouTube, Facebook, you know, whatever means of media that is not being utilized to further the illusionary story and programming and conditioning. I think it's at least 50%. I look at everything, including Ascension, and say, is that a program? Is Ascension a program? Do they have? Is there is the ability out there to actually plant words in our head and so on and so on? You know, and all this stuff, right? I know nothing. But I just wonder if this financial reset is a program, and a couple of things, and I'll pass to you. One is because if I look at I could see it happening like this. Okay, all debt. Here's the real story, or maybe not even tell the whole story, like the deep galactic war part of it, because people would freak out and all that stuff. But just say, look, all debt is forgiven. There is no debt. All right, and keep what you have, and then we'll have more to you later. To me, that's about as good as it can get, because the minute you say all debt's forgiven, what happens to possession? Because then possession becomes an issue, you know. So what, are we all squatters and we just go wherever we want to go? I mean, I don't know. I think that's still a lot for the humans to take on. The other thing that I think is that I struggle with is what happens if they say, okay, we're going to put $1 million in everybody's bank. Now, to me, that would be a lot for the human collective psyche. I mean, the money, the whole idea of money would immediately take on an absolutely new 180 type of definition. And I'm not saying that's necessarily good. It would also have a huge impact on products and services. And what do you charge for this? What do you charge for that? And even people getting off their ass and going to do something constructive every day because they got so much money in the bank. But so that's where I'm at with it. What do you know about it, and what are your thoughts on it?
So this is what I see with Jasara. So it was a bill that was back in 1999. It was signed by President Bill Clinton at the time. It was disguised as something else. So he signed off on Jasara, okay? And he just didn't know. He was just signing stuff. Well, as soon as they...
What is it? And what is it?
It's all debt forgiven. It's basically it's a global reset where it's taken, you know, these 20 years for them to, it's so much, like, it involves so much of, you know, having to take basically redistribute the wealth to take everyone out, like that they're taking the cabal out. And as we've seen as a fact, you can go on, you know, there's 85,000 sealed indictments right now.
Yeah, I want to get to that, but let's stay with the financial reset.
It's a global reset that's going to make everyone on a level playing field.
So I just want to examine this. Let's stop right there for a second. 1999, it was signed. Bill Clinton, which I can totally believe, these guys, they would just sign whatever they're told to sign, right? But I also know that just because of my old career, and I also know that in that time period, in the late 90s, that is when the financial system totally took control of the American, well, at least, well, really worldwide, but certainly in America, by the legislation that was passed. They took total control because they passed a Credit Reform Act. And
Correct.
that Credit Reform Act, I was following this very closely, was by first glance supposed to be a consumer protection type thing, like the early Fair Credit Reporting Acts, the two that passed before. But it was actually all about the financial institutions. This is what created, anyone that's had any charge-offs like me, phone bills over the. This is why they keep getting passed to collection agencies. It's a loophole. This is also where the payday loans started. Okay. Yeah. This is where Citibank, for instance, was able to develop 18 different levels of financial institution lending, and ultimately this is what led to the toxic mortgages that created the 2008 bubble that burst. And in that law, what it did basically was it allowed for more capability for the lenders to take your possessions and to take your homes and in some states, take every damn thing you had. You know what I mean? So that I just want to say that because that seems to be an inverse of what he signed. Now my second question would be, who would be enforcing this legislation that was signed in 1999? Do you know who would be enforcing it? Would it be a worldwide thing, or would it be the U.S. or what?
I think it's going to start in the U.S. Well, it's supposed to start in Zimbabwe because they have trillions of dollars, they have such a mineral reserve there in Zimbabwe. I guess they're gonna do it there first, and then people are gonna start. They have like 800 numbers, and they have like redemption centers because it's going to switch over to this quantum financial system. It's like a crystalline, like a quantum supercomputer that somehow is. I think it's. I've heard. I don't think anybody knows the total gist, but it's linked up to your consciousness.
Linked up to your consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to get, to me, they're going to get rid of physical money or currency. It's just going to be like a quantum.
So, okay, that's good. That's a good description. So, because I want to make sure we cover them all. So, okay. So, and in my head, I say, okay, is this a program? Are they not leading the story? I guess where it always comes back to me is the more I traverse this, that we're all sharing this transition, the more I feel, this is just me, I'm a fucking soul. I'm a multidimensional, high vibrational, super evolutionary being, and the emphasis of it all has been put into the embodiment that's Todd Medina. Now, this is just my universe, and as I understand it, I run this world, I create this world, and in some multiplistic way, I do it with all my brothers and sisters. Okay. I follow some people, quite a few people, and I don't want to name names or anything, just to see what's happening, what's being said. I see the same type of narrative being conveyed.
Right.
It's just changing in what it looks like. And if you look back at the history of the Rothschilds and the what seemed to be, as far as we could trace it, who was in control, they were planning things hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ahead.
Of course.
They knew this time was coming. And if you look at everything that's out there, the de-emphasis, the last place they ever wanted us to look was to ourselves. So we've been like a dog chasing its tail. We found the tail, and I saw this circular serpent the other day. I was researching serpent history, and it was eating its tail, and it was a circle. I thought, whoa, that's it right there. But I don't know. So is it a program? Is it not a program? I mean, I don't know. I guess everybody's got to discern for themselves on that one. What about secret space programs and runaway civilization, and we're already on Mars, and the moon is a base, and you know, what about that in respect to what does it mean to us?
It's joining your, it's having an integration with the galactics and being on a higher level of but like a scale of evolution for humans to connect with other beings and to integrate, you know, like it was, so back in 39, that is when Germany went, and they had a few crafts. They actually started building, and they had bases on Mars in 39. And then they built, because they built the bases like near the equator, so they started getting solar storms and it knocked out all their transmissions, and they lost people, so they moved it up towards the northern pole and the southern poles, and they've had bases there ever since. And I mean, there's millions of people, you know, that live there. And
my question is, how do we know?
And how do we know?
Here's one reason that I would say that. If that level of technology and initiatives to that level had been taken, my first question is why? Well, just in terms of like trying to like cognitively process it and weigh it, why are we all sitting here with our thumbs up our asses? I mean, why is all this stuff going on? I mean, is that just more of the physicality playing out behind the scenes? And is it important to us or unimportant to us? Somebody just put a comment up. We create our own program. So what does it mean to us? If it's real or if it's not real, because it's as real as we believe it. But I mean, what does that mean to us? What does that have to do with us? I guess
it has to do with everything for technologies to be released. I mean, because they have technology that's 1,000 years or more advanced, you know, interdimensional, all sorts of time dilation. There's time corporations, but the technology that they possess, it holds us back. I mean, they have med beds, you know, where you can go inside and it'll recalibrate. It'll basically do it like a readout, and it will find everything that is not right with you encoded in you, and you can be healed within minutes. Or they have age regression beds. I mean, they even have beds where
I've read of these things. I've read of them deeply. Yep. You know, I think where I'm at with it is, you know, I mean, is it the physicality playing out? Are we the physicality playing this thing out? Are we a divine, a spiritual light being born into a physicality? I don't know. What I'm trying to say is back to the same thing. What effect does that have on us? Is this a non-physical / physical integration trip that we command, or is this something that we're going to be given collectively? Here's your gift collectively. Does it one coincide with the other? I'm not really sure. It's very complex, you know. It's very complex. I mean, to think that someone, I'm sorry, but to think that someone or someone has all this stuff going on.
Of course.
Every single country, every power that we know of or don't know, the Vatican, the NSA, the whatever, has all that information, which means we're considered stupid, dumb, and irrelevant. You know, if they have all that information, am I supposed to trust anything I read or see? Because as I've been saying for a few weeks, the only thing I trust is me and my brothers and sisters, and that's it. That's it. Because how can I believe anything that's coming out of there? I mean, I'm not. How can I believe that? To me, that's like a religious icon coming out of the sky, blowing smoke rings out its ass, carrying lightning bolts, because it's a savior type of programming. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, the more we push for it, you know, the more that we come forward, you know, to me, it's going to happen no matter what. I mean, the technology's been there, you know, they just, you know, the ones who have controlled us, they've just seen us as cattle. We're just a part of the machine giving away our energy. It's all about energy. And what keeps us, they have everything is that they've provided, and it's their narrative that we're living out as down. Our energies, sickness, everything's poisoned, so they had a certain time amount to do what they needed to do. Well, their time is up, and it's time for a whole new way of being, and there has to be galactic intervention, just as they have intervened and manipulated us, to where we had to have some kind of divine intervention with other beings to come in and be allowed. They don't uncloak because that would disrupt our free will. We have to play it out ourselves. Now, there's things going on behind the scenes, and we're all
that's what we're being told. And we're gonna talk about QAnon. Let me give you one comparison. If you control the narrative and you have esoteric knowledge hundreds and thousands of years in advance, and fourth dimensional archonic troops, which I believe of all, this has all been, the light's won and we've passed the tipping point. But my point is this: in a comparison, let's take World War II. World War II, the entire world was sold a story that the Nazis were defeated. Now, if that's true, then are they on Mars? Are they in Antarctica? And all that stuff. We all know that the CIA and NASA were populated primarily by Nazis. Okay, so my point is this: we were all told that the Nazis lost and America was this great superpower. And the next thing you know, you've got 20, 30, 40 years of developing a collective treadmill where everybody lives in a tract subdivision and works their ass off 5, 6, and then 7 days a week. And so how can I trust the narrative? I believe what you're saying about the galactics. I believe that they've been assisting us based on proportionate to our growth in expanded awareness. But I also believe what you said to the nth degree, which is they cannot violate free will. And if they cannot violate free will, then we're at square one here. We can either wait for Santa Claus to bring us a pack of groceries and presents and money and technology, or we can go within ourselves and say, I'm a fucking alchemist. I'm a magician. I'm a healer. I am every single one of these aspects that I see that come into my room. They are me. I can do all of this. Back to your bilocation scenario, Yeah, I mean, that's a powerful thing.
Oh my God. Imagine waking up in a spaceship and you got people calling you captain, and you look out and you take off from Earth, within an instant, and you're 10,000 miles off the planet or off everything. And I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing everything. There's Earth here and there's land masses beyond Earth. There's like 40 or 50 different land masses. And going back to what we were talking about earlier about the light coming in from the galactics, the galactic sun, I could see this rainbow energy, huge. 100 times bigger than Earth, coming towards Earth. And it was the most brightest, beautiful thing. And that was what was coming over. And now you see all the rainbow light, but everything was just it was just an infinite plane. That's what I saw. It was amazing.
So having seen that, like you said, what'd you say? You can't stop it. So having seen that, I guess this is maybe we can try to go back to Lane, here in the, this human hybrid soul in transition, as we all stand here in the present, which is the most powerful moment, period. So like, if that's coming, if that's here, if it's happening, no matter what we're thinking or doing, it's coming. It's that the force of it. I'm just saying, I'm asking a question. To me, is the force of it going to be so, or is it so impactful that it's going to clean all that stuff out and we're all going to move right into pure truth and love? Is that to me, it sounds it's that powerful. And I'm not saying that it's not. In fact, I feel that that's happening. I think it's somehow or another, it's it's contingent, or you know, it's replicating our own awareness. So the more we can handle, the more that comes, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's already coming. It's been that energy got sent thousands of years ago, but it has to come in these waves, because if we couldn't handle an ascension, you know, like that, it would destroy, it would kill us, you know. So that's why we're being transformed from this carbon-based body to these crystalline avatars. And like I explained it to someone else earlier, I was talking. So it's living light. This light is encoded with unconditional love. You know, it's a new codes coming in. Yeah. And so how I explain it is like everything is brought together and held together by magnetism. So when this light comes in, what it's doing is it's integrating into our consciousness fields, our toroidal fields, but also in the same aspect, what it's doing as it comes in, it pulls the old out. It's like it goes in and then the old comes out, you know, and then we get triggered, or we get upset, or we get really want to sleep, and then it plays out, and we rest, and then we have this new sense of calmness or at peace. And that's how the codes of the quantum entanglement happen. And when the light comes in with our toroidal fields, it hits it and it spins it faster and faster. And as our awareness expands, we expand, and it moves faster, and we're happier, and people are feeling a difference.
Yeah, expanded skills and abilities by location, all that stuff. So I guess, you know, I try to, like they told me, keep it simple. So is anything and everything, I know there's a paradoxical manner to the universe that we can't get our arms around. What's up is down at the same time, you know, two meanings, you know, everything's a double entendre.
Yeah.
But is anything external? Is anything external outside of me coming at me a distraction? I mean, on the same time, it's giving me some information. It's that yin yang. I mean, I know it's presenting itself to me by me, but at the very human level, it seems like we're trying to align our consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness, basically, trying to align that. And there's as Morgan says, the human is the manager. So as the manager, I can choose what thoughts to carry forward. So if I'm waiting on, you know, salvation, or if I'm attached to children starving in Africa, or attached to a sexual molestation experience I experienced when I was a kid, are these all just different faces of one factor, which is just what's not true, what's illusion, and what is shrouding the soul? And so I don't know, all these things that are coming at us, it's like, you know.
Well, everything's a teacher. You got to, I mean, everything is sacred. So everything that you're experiencing, see, you wrote this script. Yeah. That's why I tell people, this is something that you have already, this is your manuscript. This is what you already scripted out, everything. And that's the whole surrender part of just being and know in the knowing that things are changing. It's like secondary part of change is the things going on around us. First part has to be here. When this, you know, when you release and clear and you can love unconditionally yourself and all that, and the beliefs, and you believe in yourself, you trust yourself, and that's projected outwardly. So if we have, you know, 4.5 billion souls that are awakened, loving themselves, projecting that, it's going to raise the frequency so much where everything's going as a collective has shifted. Yeah. And, you know, if you believe that we're going to be assisted and they're going to give these med beds, if everyone were to, if 5 to 6 billion people wanted that, it would happen. Yeah. You know, we have to shift the collective's mind, and just to know that you got to forgive.
That's very true. And I like what you say, because you used the word magnetism earlier. And to me, that's, God, it's so hard to, like, you know, as human beings even try to talk about this stuff. But to me, that's, as you said, at 4.5 billion people, or 4 billion, or 1 billion, or in my opinion, 1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Or even one. That's how powerful we are. It is opening that, then the magnetism of, increased frequency of waves, larger comprehensive waves. It's all coming. It's matching us. Yeah. So that was one thing.
I mean, everything is held together. Everything travels. There's like this. If you've ever seen like they have the pictures like in the brain and all like the little all the synapses and how it moves. That's the same as the universe, and everything travels through these little these waves, and that's that's how everything is held together by magnetism, and that's how everything we can travel. And so like maybe back in the 40s when they detonated the atomic bombs, well, it sent a shockwave through this magnetism and it disrupted. That's how everything communicates. It's through magnetism and through these loops and everything. It got disrupted, and some beings. That's how they get a signal to say, "Oh, this race, they're very highly advanced with technology, but spiritually, consciousness-wise, they are very low on the scale, and they will destroy themselves having this technology." And that's when they came in. That's when the Dracos came in and they've taken over. But like with Germany, they had the technology and they flew over the White House back in the late 40s or 50s.
56, I think it was. When Eisenhower was there, and and I think that's a great. That's probably a great starting point for anyone. You don't really have to go back further than about 1939. You can trace all of this stuff. There's a great video, 3-hour video called A Rich Man's Trick, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And it takes you from like 1935 all the way up through, and through every single major false flag. The history's there, the Nazis, Admiral Byrd, all that stuff. The higher dimensional stuff's not in there. But if you look at it, that was the time when those bombs went off. That was the time that, you're right. They came and said, look, we can't allow this because it's going to have repercussions into the universe. It's going to distort other things and so on. And that's when the quarantine came and all that, which there's been enough channels and downloads, I think, over the last couple of years that it's been removed. The quarantine's removed. The reptilians are gone. The archons are gone. You can just see it and feel it in people, I think, in the way they're processing this stuff. And the triggers don't last as long, and they're having to own their stuff. I mean, we are universal soldiers, man. Universal in the sense that there is no other planet, as I understand it, and the information I've taken in through the ethers and through our own purposes, our own ways here. But we are planted by every seed here. I mean, every single thing got involved in these hybridizations. And it's all kind of like turned into it was a big clusterfuck that's come back into this point of unity consciousness, where all of that healing and all the stuff that was not fair and was not right has been corrected by the power of the divine souls we are, and is merging into this huge collective consciousness of oneness. I believe that when we get done with this trip, that we will be universal healers. We'll be able to go anywhere in the universes, multiverses, with the codes that we have, and be really what, if you look at history, if you look at what the indigenous and some of the primitive cultures and early civilizations talked about, the role of the ETs, who was us, was to come in, live among the people, teach them all this stuff, and then leave and let them blossom. And, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's really how I kind of see who we are, yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just it's already happening. I just always preach and say, always put your thoughts of what you want will happen, and they will.
Yeah.
Always, like right now, it's about choosing. It's not about like creating, because creating reinforces that it has not been created. Everything is on just a frequency. You just gotta tune your fork. There's a big tuning fork on where you want to be, and what you want to do. And if as a collective, and I was putting out this information and helping people to understand what's going on, because it's just a game, you know, like you can't take it too seriously. You got to have fun with it. You got to know it's just playing out, and that we're all, you know, like, to me, I don't think that they're going to give us all of this stuff. I think that we've already been encoded. That's why we're like, most or some of us are getting information, and we're getting these downloads on how to create new technology. You know, I've gotten downloads on how to create these healing chambers. And, you know, a lot of us, we have certain parts of the key. We have certain keys, and when we all swap keys and we bring it together as one, now I've got someone who can create this med bed. Now I got some of the downloads, and this person can do this. And we need we need to come together as, you know, new earth leaders and start to build and check, because I'm not relying on Elon Musk to give, you know, to have free internet and free wire. I'm not going to rely on any of those people, because they all have agendas.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's the common 99.99%. To your point, that and that tuning fork comment, you and me, whoever that tuning fork that you are is attracting by that electrical magnetism. You know, what you need. It's almost like the conscious part of it, like you said. What did you say? The creating part of it. It's like the thoughts come and then it comes to you, versus I got to go make this. How do I do it? You know, it's like that's another thing. You said something too a minute ago, which was one of the subject, really a big subject I wanted to touch on, and I don't know how I was going to segue it out for what you just said. Okay, so I know the seat that you sit in, and I know everybody loves you, and you never get any hate mail. So. But this, I think, and I'm talking about this not from a sensationalistic standpoint. I'm talking about it from the same place, everything else that we try to do here, and that is from the heart, to learn to spit out the experiences we're having and observations we're having without judgment, to grow, you know? So what I'm talking about, let me preface it this way. I get inspired, and always have, by anyone who's willing to put it out there. You know, warts and all, you know, shadows and all. Because if you look at some of these people that get out there and stick the camera in front of their face, utilizing as many frequencies as possible to put out this vibrational message, you can tell when it's from the heart. And I don't care if dropping F-bombs. I don't care if I agree with them. I don't care if I resonate. I don't care. I see that energy, and that energy is who we are, what we are, what we're a part of. That intention is that bomb going off. It is that to me is the real transmission. That to me is the real download. You know, that's the real channeling. It's coming from us. We might be getting all of this from the Akashic. You know, we might be getting all of this from infinite intelligence, but we are the living library. Our experience on top of that information that we already had is creating golden children energetically all over this world. And so I admire people like that. That's just the way I would put it. Now, Jason Estes, who's been on here 5 or 6 times, put out a brave, I thought was a brave, and I'm going to say this in front of everybody, and Jason too, I love him. I don't understand everything he says. I don't therefore resonate with everything he says. I am that. I am the I am. So I have my own universe, but I admire his moxie for getting out there and putting it out there. It's been an honor to help him do that. Now, he put out a post yesterday, and it said, basically in a nutshell, I'm getting attacked. You know, this is what you said earlier, was that, you know, allowing all this to happen, accepting all this about yourself, and I would add, and in each other. Go easy on yourself, go easy on the others. Okay, absolutely. Everybody's going through the same thing. And he went on, and I read it, and I thought, you know, he's putting it out there. He's saying, hey, I'm not a god, I'm not a cult leader. I've been attacked. I've had police come to my door. I've had these things said about me. People have made videos about me, blogs about me, whatever.
Yeah.
Morgan and I at Soulogy have had that happen a lot. I know you've had it happen a lot. Our attitude began summer last year when it really got bad and began to get bad, and really to try to say as little as possible. I would say today to say nothing at all, and just keep doing what you're doing. Have the trust and belief and faith in yourself. You're here doing to thine own self be true, and you're serving the collective. I think maybe sometimes you have to say something. I mean, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But I just feel like that the less said, the better. What are your views on getting attacked? How do you handle it? You know, because this is a big one. We talk about these energies coming down, but it's these human interactions and these human frequencies and ill intentions, but misaligned intentions with your own that really rock us more than anything. They really do.
Well, the Matrix knows all your fears. It knows what you're most scared of, and so it will tune into that. You know, and they have, you know, there's scalar weapons where they don't think that, you know, some of these towers, or they don't have technology where they can start putting in thought waves into your head that aren't your own. That's why it's so important to really have discernment and not just to listen to a voice, because if, you know, I always ask, you know, if it's something that's not my highest good, I'm like, you know, you don't have permission. You know, it's not my thoughts. I don't consent to that. Because we do get attacked. I have. I mean, hell, just like last week, I had a helicopter over spotlighting right in front of my house for over an hour and just circled. You know, like, they aren't looking for anybody. They know who you are. They know who we are. They try to intimidate us. You know, there's gang stalking, all sorts of things, you know, and like even with people that are around us, just like in the Matrix, the Mr. Smith, they can jump. If you're still plugged into the Matrix, well, then it uses those people to, you know, they can throw you off and be mean to you, or a narcissist, or whatever it may be, or cut you off and make you pissed, or anything to try to throw off your energy. Would
you say it's basic? If we try to simplify, would you say, well, first of all, we know fear was the component, fear was the sustenance
for program.
Well, I mean, again, they fed off of our conflict. They fed off of our emotions. So would you say it's basically their pattern is the pattern? I want to say there because they're part of me. I honor, respect, and hold the highest reverence all points of dark and light, period. Yeah. I own it. But the program or the methodology is one where basically it's turning each of us against each other, basically. Conflict, separation, race, culture, country, politics, you know,
of course.
Dramas within families, dramas within relationships, these momentary lapses of sanity, you know, where we're just irrational, you know.
That's the name of the game, is separation. You know, there's programs inside programs inside programs that you got to like peel back, and you got to, you know, you get to a certain point and you're like, I mean, you got to give it to them. Like, it's brilliantly played out. They've mastered it. You know, like when you really see it for what it is, you're like, wow, they created like everything that you do, and you it's because it's what they want. Like, there wouldn't be hunger, there wouldn't be starvation, there wouldn't be debt if they didn't want it that way.
But are they really masters? Because if they were really masters, they'd still be kicking our ass. They're powerless powers that be. They are the lesser gods. We are the fucking gods and goddesses. And we're going to take that 1% to the promised land by our own energetic, spiritual inertia, the force of expansion and creation, you know, imagination. So, you know, if they were masters to me, they'd still be, you know, drilling us down.
They just had a certain amount of time to play it out. You know,
that was known. I think if you put together the Enoch stuff, you put together all the stuff, you can put it together. Anybody who spent even, I don't know, 50 hours researching, if they really just follow their intuitive, you can find out the whole story, or at least see the pattern, right? you know, but this is fascinating. I think it's fascinating that people like Jason's post. I saw a great post by Vera Ingeborg this morning where she said, I lost all my identity. I got off Facebook, you know, I lost all my identity. And she went through this whole thing, you know, all the chaos, chaotic thoughts and such, worked her way through and got to the end. She said, man, what am I? I am joy. I am bliss. I am playful. This is the space that we are. This is that space that you're talking about that is going to overcomes all of this. I don't care. GMOs, fluoride, chemtrails, whatever, you know, whatever you want to do, I can integrate with any of it and transform it. That's who I am and what I am and what I'm a part of. Every one of us are the same thing. I cannot separate myself from anything. I can open my heart to it. If it's an artificial moon that controlled me for centuries, it is now part of me. We transform. We're pure love, because even if something is qualified or defined as artificial intelligence, it's still made of the same God substance. It's all the same when you get right down to the one. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and just to take it back to some of the, you know, the technology. I mean, on the, you know, like it's all like it has to be there to help us. Like there's so much intervention going on. You know, that's why people are, you know, like last year I started taking videos and pictures of, you know, clouds, and people thought I was fucking crazy. They're like, oh, what's wrong? Like, are you on drugs? I'm like, well, you just don't see it yet. And then what happened? Like now people are seeing ships and, you know, cloaked as clouds all across the world. And it's you know why? It's because people believe. When you get the collective to believe something, it becomes real, Todd. And that's the key. You know, most people weren't talking about or just doing that. I started doing it. I'm not saying I was the first, but I get people all around the world sending me pictures. Hey, look at this. Is this a ship? I'm like, see, now they're looking up. Now you got their attention. Now they're aware. See, when you bring awareness, then the bullshit and all the illusion of the hallucination starts to fade. And now you start seeing things a little differently, and your world opens up. You're like, huh. That looks.
I'm totally digging this conversation, man. Because it's like this is like I don't even know what the word is, but so if I look at that and I say to myself, because the more aware I become, the more aware of, let's just call it light.
Yeah.
The more aware of truth, but also the more aware of the program. So how do I know or not know if what everyone's seen, what I've seen myself, okay, how do I know or not know that it's not being driven by those that have created this illusionary movie and narrative, or being created by something else?
Got to trust, because
that's what I mean. I go back to me. I am, you know, I go back to me. And that's really, I think, where we're all being forced to. And by the effectiveness or lack thereof is what the collective experience is. Is that?
I mean, you have personal truth, you have your like individual truth, and you have a collective truth. You know, I believe I did. You know, I know that I have a bilocation experience. But
you're a captain, man. You're like Captain Kirk, dude. You're a captain. Just own it. Just own,
I mean,
you know?
There's a certain things that you know, like, you know, your name's Todd, you know you this, and you just have a knowing. There's no more believing. There's just, I know that these are ships. I know that there's going to be intervention. I know the Jasara is going to come. I don't know how it is going to come. I know there's going to be a solar flash. You know, there's going to be this really big wave that's going to come in soon.
For me, this is just me. I don't care. I know this, like in my own space. I know I'm in a divine conscious union. I know I am a part of Soulogy. I can't really put a lot of stuff on my plate. I know that I'm in some type of incredible dance of congruency that's getting better every day as it's gifted me with material things, gifted me with a place to live, gifted me with the ability to cohabitate permanently with my wife. I mean, all that other stuff to me, I don't care, because because the way I see it, if everybody is, well, you said this earlier, but if everybody is through that magnetization is following their bliss. Thank you, Joseph Campbell. You know, if they're following their bliss and they're operating from this aligned mind, heart, and gut kind of thing, then all of that stuff that we share is going to be as best it could be. You know, it's going to be, it's going to be incredible.
Well, of course, and we know that, but not everyone is at that level right now, you know? And so,
but that's my point. And that's my point. Anything external is a distraction. If I'm worried about everybody else, you know, if I'm worried about everyone else, I'm sorry.
But that's how we live. That's how we experience life, is externally. You know, we know that it's internal. I'm projecting, but the only way that we know how we live is an external, you know, part of us. You know, it's just an extension of ourselves. Everyone we meet, you know, and so that's why I just give information. I say, hey, it might sound crazy. You don't have to believe it, you know, but hey, this is what's going on. This is what I feel to be true. You know, this is what I'm putting out in here. There's this, you know, the Schumann resonance going on, and I talk about a lot of different subjects because people are, it's real things that are going on, and they're interested, and so I just give them my experiences with me being in the secret space program, and you know, and tell people what I know.
You didn't tell me that.
You were in the secret
space program.
Yeah,
you never told me that. We're gonna have to do another show now. We're gonna have to do another show.
I'll tell you my story real quick. Yeah, I was 6 years old, and I was taken in at 6 years old. That's when they usually take people or take children for their empathic abilities. And it was Christmas Eve, and I'm looking out my parents' window. I see this craft. You know, it's a circular craft above the pecan tree, and get in bed, and mom, you know, tucks me in, and I had this feeling of someone, I'm being watched in my door, and I'm out. Well, you know, fast forward about, you know, 33 years later, starting to like have recalls because they blank slate you. They mind wipe you.
They compartmentalize you too, right?
Well, it's
create
you
different
do your jobs. Yeah, you do what you do, and when you come back, they wipe you. And so I wake up, I'm on this craft, and we land at Area 51, and we get off, and I'm with this man, and seeing, you know, craft on the tarmac, and the big bay doors open. There's a huge like a triangular, like 700-foot triangular craft in the hangar, and we go to a door and go in this room. It's like an office room, but it's like a dummy room, and it has a corkscrew, and it's like an elevator, and it goes down for a few minutes, and we're in a hallway. Go down the hallway. He puts up his face for the biometric scan for his eye and everything, and this door opens up, and there's a soldier behind the door with this futuristic get up on, and you know, gun and everything, and go into this room where they start doing tests on me. They put down like this crystal looking, or this glass screen, and put something on my head. And she's like, they're just doing tests on me. She's like, yeah. So, and then I come to find out, I guess my dad was a part of this program, because he was the one, I guess, because he used to work for Lockheed Martin, and he worked for
most of the people.
In the 90s. He was like but I just thought he was like a graphic artist. I don't know, but he has some kind of connection, obviously. And
I was going to tell you, so many of the people that I've connected with over the last 7 years privately that have told me this happened to me, that happened to me, and this could be everything from, you know, sexual torture with futuristic tools inside of a cave in a mountain in Utah. All different types of things, but every single one of them, either by location, proximity, or for all of them in that case, because they say, "Oh, I live in Utah. Where do you live?" Here, and there's you can figure out what's close by. But the other thing that's always been true is their father was always linked somehow, like in the military, he works at such and such base, or one of the big defense contractors.
There's always some kind of link. And and they started doing these tests, and they have a machine where they can basically see, they can see your consciousness, and they can scroll through it, and they can see everything they can see all your lives. And so that's how they can reverse engineer the technology, because they see a point of view of who you were, let's say as a Pleiadian, for instance, and you were a starship captain, and they could see how you operate these ships and machine and technology. And that's one of their things. And then we went to a jump room where we went to the Pyramid of Giza and met with 3 Pleiadians, and they showed me how the pyramids work, and they called them world energy engines, and they power the planet.
So I wonder if this experience you're talking about, and I'm not specifically pointing at you, because I've had some similar, all right? And I can tell you it involved Montauk, involved time travel, involved hybridization, torture, such like things like that. But I wonder if these, like the information you got at the pyramids, were not higher aspects of you and or your family conveying information to you, dimensional experience, that type of thing. I don't know. I don't know. But again, I go back to the same thing. We're 99% conscious here. 99% of our multidimensional aspect, collective consciousness is available. 100% is available. Yet probably less than 1% of what that is the conscious human hybrid soul. Okay. Now we're getting these memories back, and we're getting these revelations and sacred wisdom and practices and modalities and light language and star language. Okay. These are like maybe the cookie crumb trail home. And bringing all that in, bringing in that captain into this body and saying, I am not just Sean, I am also a captain, one of infinite other things, right? But the whole point is the validation, the mission, and the prize. Most of all, the prize and the contribution that we are making from our hearts is what this is all about, and that goes down in the conscious human experience. Which, going back to the top of the show, are these things distractions? Because anything that takes our focus off this experience in the present moment, I have to question. But whether it be a run-in with a reptilian here, that happened to me, or if it's a past life where you were the offspring of a religious icon, or if it was a bilocation experience on the spaceship, or you were an incarnation of Buddha, or you were molested when you were a child, or you're waiting on a huge bailout in the world to be corrected by an external force, or whatever the case is, it seems to me it takes the focus off the I am soul, and to me, that's how this thing changes, not by some connected dot, all that all comes, like you said, it's all done in here. From here, and then whatever that is going to be reflected to us. And the last thing I wanted to ask you too was, what are your views on what's occurring? We got to do this again. But what are your views on what's occurring in terms of what we can only be termed as instant manifestation or creative manifestation, the speed of it?
To me right now, like what I'm seeing is like, on the other side, it's like we're merging with our aspects of our other side, and it's like this crystallization, of this crystalline body, and we're forming this crystalline kind of structure, and it's helping us to man, we're teaching ourselves how to become creators and how to create what we want, you know, taking our power back. And that's what humanity has never experienced. You know, we've been living subconsciously. And what I see now is that we're living consciously, or we consciously know what we're doing. We're consciously manifesting. We're not just subconsciously manifesting. Oh, well, there it is. It's now. It's
not like
about like all these deep subconscious programs are being taken out, and we're going to be fully conscious, higher dimensional, you know, aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's going to help us to create and to have whatever we want. You know, that's why, as you say, things are speeding up. And, you know, if you think about something, boom, you know, it happens so much quicker now.
Yeah, it does. And that's not just like, oh, I want a new car. That's like, you think something
Hawaii. Let's Hawaii,
like this is going to happen, man. Like, I know if I drive to the store, I don't want to say that. I know if I go to the beach, I'm going to cut my foot on a rock, but boom, you know, I'm being funny, but that type of thing too. So it's like, I say, it's like, you know, like breaking in a wild horse, you know, it's like the external is the wild horse. And as you start to build a synergy with it, it starts to become a unified relationship. And it's like so much of this technology they describe, you know, which opens up a whole nother can of worms, is these craft are run by the thoughts of the pilot.
So like,
and they're living, breathing organisms.
Yeah, like going back to my bilocation experience, part of my crew, there was a woman sitting behind me, and she's actually alive here today. She's one of my friends. I remember her face. And so, but her consciousness was hooked up to the ship, because the ships are all organic, they're living, and that's how we can make those quick, you know, those quick decisions with the ships, and they can turn on a whatever, and you can do slip space and time dilation and open up, you know, these portals to interdimensionally travel. It's just, it's fascinating, you know, like this 0 point energy to where it would it's literally going to change how we do everything. You know,
well, we're all that, you know what I mean? And we are that free energy, you know, we are. I mean, it's, I had a experience the other night when all this stuff happened to me. I posted about it, and part of it was, I want to go see Morgan now. Right. I said, what do you want? What do you want? And within a few seconds, I could literally feel, you know, feel my body against her. Right. It was so real. It freaked me out. I mean, I jumped back out, you know, and I went back in a little bit, jump back out. So it's, you know, it's just getting really interesting. I don't know, man. I think as I see it, which is what we started the top of the show with, or part of it talking about Jason, talking about different people, yourself, is for us to just to put our truth out there. And what that person said in the post when we put it up about without grandstanding, you know, without whatever the other things that she said, but I mean, it's like, if we can just speak, it's our truth. I mean, hey, this happened to me. Hey, this is what I'm getting from this download. Hey, this is how I'm feeling. I mean, that's really, to me, where the gold is. That's what I'm watching in these 900 plus episodes. That's what I'm watching more than anything activate people. And I get messages every single day, more and more every day. People saying, you know, so-and-so activated me on your show, or thank you, or my life has changed. And I think that's what we all have to keep doing.
That's what we're doing. We activate one another. Like when I talk to people about certain things, you know, like I'm kind of like that secret space program nerd. I like talking about UFO. That's just part of who I am. I like to, you know, and I talk to people and I was like, you've been in the program. And then they start having recalls. I'm like, wow, I remember I'm starting to get recalls of this, or, you know, I'm getting, you know, I've been contacted by other beings now. I'm like, well, that's just because we swap keys, we swap codes with one another, you know. Exactly right. When we speak through our hearts, it comes off a certain vibrational frequency that helps to activate, and that's what I see us doing as these, you know, pockets of groups. Is we're going to be out in locations and there's going to be crowds of tens of thousands of people.
I agree.
And as we speak, then we're going to be activating the masses, Todd.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that. Yeah. I'm starting to look at it like this, you know, and there is some type of mission here for, and I'm not going to say for everybody. I think ultimately, yeah, maybe it is everybody. The mission being, I want to be a soul and incarnate on earth, and expand the universe by expanding myself. But there's the specific mission of, we got to turn this baby around. Somebody's going to have to go down in there and get dirty and come out of that shit with a bucket of gold. And that's whatever that is. Everyone has a little piece of that. And I do think that, you know, this is something Morgan's told me for 2-3 years, that through the years, that the 18 years or so that she's been connected and had a sisterhood over there, she's received that the time would come when we would be put to work. Yep. And I think that's what you're describing. I think that's what you're describing. I also think that the universal energy is supporting us, providing us what we need: education, transportation, resources, community. And we don't really have to force anything. We just keep doing what we're doing, like you said. And a big part of that is, if your job is to jump up on a microphone, put a camera on you, and tell it like it is through written and verbal post, then by God, more power to you, man. And that's how I feel. Whatever, everyone's got a piece of this. And like you said, when we do this, we are activating others, whether we are conscious of it or not, you know?
Of course. I mean, everything's already happened. All we got to do is just follow our hearts, speak loving, be loving. It's all going to play out. Do you think that we'd come here? Do you think we would write ourselves a shitty script where we didn't, be our own heroes and our own, saviors? Like we are the main characters of our movie. And don't think we didn't come here, right? This last time here for some of us. This is going to be the greatest story ever told. It's the great awakening. I mean, you see, like with the QAnon, like, JFK Jr., he's not dead. He's been planning this with tons of other people. Like Trump is a walk-in to me. Like I've had experiences on the other side with Trump, and he's shown me documents, sealed indictments, and I've been with other beings and him. And in a round table, like a committee, like a council, I mean, he is working with the higher, with other beings to make this happen. Of course, everyone has their own little agenda, but in the end, it has to work out for humanity this time. And we that's how we wrote the script.
Yeah. I think it's up to us. It's like people say, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to believe this, you need to believe that. And I say, I don't need to do shit.
You need to do shit.
I need to be, to thine own self be true. Yeah. I had a lucid dream about Trump too. And we were both trying out for wide receiver of the Washington Redskins. And I know that dream had meaning, but I have no idea what the hell it meant,
Yeah.
But that'd be a great one. We could fit in, man. To talk about the QAnon stuff. Because I think that's worthy discussion. Get into more of whatever galactic and or other memories you've had, and we'll just wrap again for another hour and a half, and maybe we do it next weekend. I got to look at the calendar. I've got I've got like a bunch of messages and shows to schedule.
To me, Q is a bunch of light workers like you and I. We're doing things on the other side.
I don't know. See, to me, I don't. One thing about the universe, and every one of us has dealt with the universe. I don't take my eye off the universal ball, which means there are no absolutes in the universe. The minute you start to throw an absolute down in your experience, in your universe, is the minute the universe is going to come back and give you a swift kick right in the ass, throw you on the pavement and say, hey, don't ever take your eye off the universal ball. So I can see them being light workers. I can see it being a program, period. Because again, if they've had all this knowledge If I was, you know, people say you can't disclose because you're going to freak everybody out. Well, I think you could. I think there's something, huh?
We need to rip the Band-Aid off.
Some people say if that's even but that would freak people out. I think that I don't believe any of these leaders are really in control of anything. But if I was in a position where if you were the president of the United States or a senator or someone who could get the media in front of you that would be recorded and permeated into social media, no matter what they tried to do.
Right.
And you had awareness, proven physical evidence of whatever. Okay, there's so many different things we could talk about: Vatican, right, false history, giants, you know, whatever. I know what I would do. I'd get up in front of the microphone and say, "Let me tell you, people, what's been going on." Yeah, you know, let me tell you who killed JFK. Let me tell you about 9/11. We don't need to wait on this shit. What do we need to wait on this for? Bullshit. We're waiting on this stuff because we're serving the same people who are propagating this false narrative. That's why I don't trust QAnon. I know it's not that I mistrust them, but I trust me and I trust you and my brothers and sisters, the 99.99%.
Right.
You know, that's what I trust. And I'm not talking about what comes out of our mouths. I'm talking about what comes out of our hearts. We're all gathering in a vortex, and the words that we're exchanging and that people are writing are not relevant to me. It's the energy that brings us here that we all share. This is the soul code exchange and activations that you're talking about. This is the power of this thing that you're talking about, where these cells are coming together and forming these groups and creating a new flower of life, basically.
Absolutely. Yes. It's amazing. I mean, it's funny that you speak of flower of life, because all the pyramids, there's pyramids all across the world, and they're in the shape of the flower of life. They're all between 33, 66, and 99 degrees apart. And there's over 1,000 pyramids, and they power the planet. And so
there's many more they haven't discovered, right?
Yeah. And what I've been shown and told is, like, we can come together in pockets of groups and activate. Because they said when I was a child and I was in Giza with these Pleiadians, they showed me the pyramids and how they worked. They're called world energy engines. And it's interesting because David Wilcock, on like one of his recent lives, talked about that they're called world energy engines. So I knew I was on the right track, telling the right narrative and the truth. But what they said, when one comes online, they all come online, and they will power the planet. And that's when you have this free. That's what, you know, like Nikola Tesla, he was in the free energy, and they had wireless technology back then, but they suppressed it.
Yeah. So Trump's uncle went in there and cleaned it out with some other people. I mean, you know, I don't know, man. I think the only thing that we try to frame everything up, we try to understand everything, and it seems to me what's working, at least in my life, which isn't easy, and I'm not saying that I got the answers, is to stay in this present heart space. To, when I get knocked off my square, to go back to this heart space and just say, what are you doing? I'm in a relationship, divine conscious union, serving humanity. I has spawned a golden child, Soulogy. It's its own consciousness. I serve it. This is my little piece of the universe. I love what I do. I love her. I love us. I love the people that are part of this community. I love everyone in the whole fucking world. I love the whole universe, and I'm going to stay right here and get away from all these distractions, because I don't believe any of them. I don't believe. I can't afford to believe. The minute I start to believe in absolute, you know, other than what's aligned in my heart, because I don't, like you said, you just know. And how do we know or not know that there's 1 billion? Let's say that there's 100 different realms meeting in the earth realm, and, you know, 10% of them are in this trip, 10% of them are in that trip, 10% of them are in this trip. You know, I don't know how this works. I just know that it can be so complicated so quickly, and we can be thrown off our square. And we've been in that mode for too long. Yeah. I am soul, and that's about all I know. Let me go sit on a rock and, you know, talk to the wind and the tree, because I'm a lot more comfortable there, even though this is my job.
No doubt.
Dude, I absolutely just want to say again, man, big ass props to you. Big ass props. And let's get together maybe next weekend.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me see. I actually think we could do that. Yeah. If you're open to it on the 31st, on the 31st.
Okay.
Can you do what? 5 p.m.
Let's do it. Of course, okay, I can do anything, Todd.
Let me write it down. Hang on. So we're going to talk. When you come back, we're going to talk about.
I want to tell people about my story being in the secret space program, and we can discuss some other new topics.
Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
I know there's other people that have had experiences, you know. So if y'all have anybody watching has had any kind of recalls, message me. You know, tell me your story. I'm building information and stories, and I'm going to be going to Contact in the Desert on May 31st through June 3rd. You know, to see Emery Smith, Wilcock, Corey Good, and the rest. And I'm going to rub elbows with people and you know, and bring back some good information for everyone. So yeah.
I'm just getting a message from that next guy. I'd love to talk about your experience and that what you know of others in what you're referring to as secret space program. I'd like to talk about Gaia TV, David Wilcock.
Yep.
I'd like to talk about David Icke.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to talk about David Icke. And again, from this type of conversation where because we're just having a conversation, debating, we're just putting this out there.
Yep.
I've got questions. I've got a different perspective. We've got different perspectives. All of us do. Every one of us. None of us has the same perspective. So
thank God for that, right?
Put it out there honestly and see what comes up out of it. Because I'm telling you, it's the intention and then the subject matter, not the words. It's just like you said. I love the way you said that. You know, it's the codes. The key codes are opened up, and we move on. We move on.
Absolutely.
I love you, brother, man. I love you.
Brother. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Absolutely. See you next Sunday, right? Sunday the 31st at 5 p.m. Central.
Awesome.
That'll be noon in Hawaii. That'll be 6 p.m. New York City time, East Coast. So peace, power, protection. Big ass love to everybody. All right, buddy.
Love you guys.
I enjoyed it, man. It was good.
Have a wonderful day.